Let's get to the calls today, and let's start with Eric in Long Island on Mad Dog Unleashed. Eric, welcome to you. How are you today? Okay, pal?
I'm doing good, dog. Good to have you back. Listen, before I get to a comment on Foles with Cousins, dog, I totally agree with you from a Viking standpoint. Yes, he is an upgrade over Keenum, but not that much. They didn't lose that game to the Eagles because of Keenum. That defense couldn't get off the field. No reason to go from a $5 million quarterback to a $30 million quarterback between the two guys. However, I will differ with you, dog, on the Jet point of view. And let's analyze this for a second. They got the 6th pick in the draft. There's 4 top quarterbacks. We know who they are: Allen, Rosen, Darnold, and Mayfield. Hypothetically, let's say Allen is the guy that the Jets want at 6. Chances are, dog, with the Browns picking twice, and if they go Saquon Barkley 1, which I heard you yesterday say they should, and I agree with you, more than likely they're taking a quarterback at 4, even if they sign A.J. McCarron.
Yeah, but there'd be one of those quarterbacks will be available because Indianapolis is going to take Chubb.
I agree, but my point is, dog, if Allen or Darnold or Rosen, let's just say the Jets hypothetically are targeting a specific player, there is no guarantee that the guy they want of those 3 quarterbacks.
I agree. The Jets, in order for them to play the game that you just said, they have to think on they'd have to be happy with any of the 4 quarterbacks that was left to them, whether that be Rosen, Darnold, Mayfield, or Allen. They'd have to be satisfied with any one of those 4. Now, I don't know if that's the case. Maybe they wouldn't be. Then they're in a tricky spot at this. But, to me, the pick at 6 has nothing to do with Cousins. I'm not spending $30 million a year to have him be my quarterback in Kirk Cousins. I'm not doing that on the Jets because he's not going to take you to the promised land. He's not a championship-level quarterback. He's decent, but he's not championship level. And if I'm going to spend that kind of money at that position, 2 things have to be in play. 1, I'm a quarterback away of being a Super Bowl level team. That's the first thing, and he isn't. And 2, he is good enough as a difference maker to take me to the Super Bowl if I'm already good. And I'm not sure if that's the case either. And both things do not apply to the Jets.
But if you draft one of those young quarterbacks, you're figuring 2-3 years to groom him, getting ready. That's another 3 years without a playoff spot. You figure bring back Josh McCown to basically hold the fort down until the guy is ready, whoever that young kid may be. If you bring in Cousins, dog, you know what you have established with him. Yes, he's a top 12 to 15 quarterback, 3,000 yards. You got $100 million in cap space. You spent $30 on him. Dog, let's be honest here. The Buffalo Bills were the 6th seed last year. The Jets, Kirk Cousins can get the Jets, 8-9 wins, challenge for a playoff spot. They fill in the rest of their needs with the rest of the money. They're not too far away from being a playoff team, and he's only 30 years old. So you figure you got another 7 to 8 years with him.
If you're going to spend $30 million a year, Eric, on a quarterback and give him, basically $100 million or $120 million guaranteed, you better get a quarterback who is capable of winning you a Super Bowl, and you don't know that about Cousins.
You're right, dog. Now let's just assume the Vikings sign Cousins. All right, let's play this hypothetical game now for Foles. If you're the Jets. All right, do you give the Eagles a 3rd-round pick and maybe a 1st-round pick in 2019? So not this year's number 1 at 6, a pick in 2019 number 1. If you're the Eagles, do you do that for Foles? And if you're the Jets, do you make that trade?
Eric, that's an excellent question. I would not trade Foles if I were the Eagles, and I know that this is not a sentimentality business, so I get it when I'm going to give you this answer, but there's 2 reasons why I don't trade Foles if I'm the Eagles. Number 1, a tangible. Number 2, an intangible. The 1, as a tangible, is I don't know for sure that Wentz is going to be 100% by week 1. I know he claims he will be, but still, there's no guarantee that he is going to be raring to go 9 months after major knee injury, 2 of them, and surgery. So that's the first thing. And then the intangible aspect of it is I don't like the karma of trading a guy who won you a Super Bowl, and he did. Trading a guy who won you a Super Bowl, who was superb in a city that was dying to win one, and he finally got it, got the monkey off their franchise's back. I don't like the idea of dealing him basically a month or 2 after that's the case. I just don't. I think it's bad karma. I think you're messing around the football gods. I understand, 2 picks, the health of the franchise, but if it was my team, and I was the owner of that team, I am going to tell my general manager, Howie Roseman, Howie, here's the deal. I understand it might make us better. I don't want to go. I don't want to. After next year, if Wentz shows he's healthy, and you got a year in between title and in 2019, I would. Now you're not going to get the same amount of back because obviously you're not trading him when he's hot. But that is when I would decide. But I'm keeping him on the team this year myself. I'm keeping him on the team. I understand and I certainly understand what Eric is saying regarding Cousins. I get it. He'll make the Jets better. That's a lousy division. He'd be the second best quarterback in the division because he's better than Tannehill. He's better than any quarterback Buffalo will bring in. I get it, and I do have plenty of money under the cap. I understand that too, but I would still be very careful. I really would. Scott in Nebraska, and he's the board. He's on Mad Dog Unleashed. Scotty, good afternoon. Your turn. How are you today?
Mr. Russo, how are you, sir?
Fine, Scott. Thank you. What's happening now? What do you have for me?
Good. Nothing. Hey, listen, I love listening to you. The one thing I think I like the most about your show is the fact that you're consistent, but I got to kind of call you out on this Garoppolo deal. I mean, everything you talk about as it relates to Cousins, right? You're talking body of work, one playoff game, no wins. What has Garoppolo done in your eyes that makes you think he's a better quarterback now than Cousins? That doesn't feel consistent to me.
Okay, well, here's the difference. I have seen Cousins in the big game, and he has not played well. I have not seen Garoppolo in the big game yet. So you're right. Garoppolo hasn't won the big games, but he hasn't had a chance to perform in them yet. Cousins has had plenty of big games. He's had 4 to 5 big games in his career where he laid an egg. And that scares me. I'm going to have confidence, Scott, that Garoppolo, when given that opportunity, is going to respond. But I understand your point. But the difference is Cousins has had chances. 2 years ago, they collapsed late in the year. Couldn't score against the Giants. Struck out against Carolina on a Monday night. He was not good against Green Bay when Rodgers beat him the year before that. This past year, although he had a decent season, he did not raise his team up. So I don't think the team loves him either, the players on the team. That is why I would not go after Cousins, and that's the difference between him, in my opinion, and Garoppolo. We continue. Busy program on Mad Dog Unleashed. Back after this.